Hey guys, this is my weekly vlog update from cold Chicago, where I'm currently researching from home via creating an AI platform for faster and better data analysis and gene sequencing, planning out lab work and researching about gene editing for modifying whiteflies and cassava to tackle cassava mosaic disease, which devastates Africa. I realize I will have to get this across in a few minutes, and quite a bit happened in my past week, but I'll try my best to summarize it all. I'll reverse engineer so that you get an idea of all my actions that I took that led up to the outcome by the end of this week. So just a few minutes ago, I had my call with Ginny Sebakunzi, who I met at the Villars Institute in Switzerland back in August, and we touched base, given his association with SeedStars and various other grant programs and connections to programs such as the Gates Foundation. My call focused on updating Ginny about my cassava project, specifically tackling cassava mosaic disease through genetically modified whiteflies. We discussed my partnership, regulatory challenges, and funding needs, particularly for lab work and AI development. The key thing I realized moving forward is that I'll have to refine my pitch for different funders based on their backgrounds, whether it's a science funder or a funder for agriculture or a funder for farmers. Based on what they're looking for, I'll have to emphasize their self-interest more in my application so that both parties can agree and it aligns with their funding priorities. For example, the Gates Foundation is quite focused on farmers and agriculture, which I learned. So I'll have to align with the Gates Foundation priorities and clarify project milestones and outcomes. And I'll also have to clarify project long-term, short-term, and long-term milestones and outcomes to secure for R&D and field trials. An interesting insight from my call with Ginny was that I have to pitch like I'm explaining to a 5-year-old. So essentially first principles so that it's concise and to the point. Secondly, last Wednesday, I had a call with Nadim Nathu, the co-founder of TKS. My call with Nadim was focused on my project's progress, funding strategy, and scaling. The main takeaways from our conversation include the importance of clearly defining the geographical boundaries of my project. This is essential for identifying the regions most affected by cassava. And he said that I have a strong idea of this, given I'm doing this in Nigeria and also open to doing this in a few other countries such as Kenya and Uganda, where this disease is present. Nadim also suggested leveraging papers and research that I've already collected to prove the significance of the problem and support the solution I'm developing. This strengthens the credibility of my project, especially when applying for grants or speaking with stakeholders. In terms of the solution, Nadim emphasized the need to look into various avenues such as cassava plant modifications and alternative technologies like cold plasma spray. He pointed out the importance of gene modifying the whitefly to reduce CMD transmission, highlighting that my solution's focus should be on its scalability and environmental sustainability. The considerations from this call was that I would need to go deeper into understanding the ecological implications of my project, especially long-term, and how gene editing impacts the food chain and natural habitats, because those could have big consequences. My plan of action here is to engage with the IITA once again to get a better idea of that. He also suggested considering why whiteflies exist in the first place and what role they play in the broader ecosystem. Nadim pointed out that my success will depend on strategic networking, particularly with ecologists, entomologists, and regulatory bodies, to ensure that I'm addressing the right challenges and mitigating all these risks that I may face. Finally, Nadim encouraged me to execute my project with precision, noting that collaboration and partnerships will be crucial to tackling such a large-scale problem effectively. He reinforced that focusing on funding through grants rather than investors might be more feasible at this stage. In essence, the call was about clarifying my project's next steps in terms of funding, ecological considerations, strategic partnerships, and execution, with an emphasis on leveraging my research and network for success. Thirdly, earlier on the same day, I had a call with Sophia De Meyer, one of my directors at the Villars Institute. We had our monthly mentorship call where the key takeaways were the importance of building formal partnerships with organizations, namely FAO and IITA, to gain access to public utility grants and strengthen the credibility of my project. She encouraged me to continue leveraging AI in my project to make it more accessible and understandable to non-experts. So essentially the common person that doesn't have an idea about AI or gene editing or anything to do with my project, which will help attract broader support. Sophia also recommended creating content like podcasts and updates, for example, interviewing scientists to showcase progress and build a solid reputation. She advised making this content more about product development rather than just outreach, especially over the holiday Christmas period when outreach might be less effective. She suggested exploring research grants rather than investor funding at this stage, same as Nadeem, as it aligns better with the public utility nature of my project. Overall, Sophia's advice focused on strengthening formal collaborations, ensuring my project's accessibility through AI, and strategically focusing on grants for funding. Now, we'll do a practice Q&A based on questions Nadeem told me to focus on. What's the problem? Specific, it has to be specific, quantifiable, and geographically bound. So I would say the problem is cassava mosaic disease, which is severely affecting cassava production in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. Cassava is a key staple crop consumed by around 30 million people, and is the third largest carbohydrate source globally. CMD can reduce cassava yields by up to 70%, endangering the food security of 9 million smallholder farmers, many of whom are children. Whiteflies, a tiny insect, is a large portion of why this disease is transmitted by, which is difficult to control with traditional methods like pesticides, making the problem urgent and widespread. How do you know it's a problem? Well, research and reports from organizations like the IITA, the FAO, and other experts validate that CMD is a major threat to cassava production. In fact, the United Nations and other global bodies recognize this as a significant food security issue in Africa, with millions at risk of malnutrition and poverty due to crop losses. What's my solution? The solution involves genetically modifying the whitefly that transmits CMD using RNAi. This innovative approach aims to either reduce or eliminate the transmission of CMD by modifying whiteflies in a way that prevents them from spreading the virus, while also not harming the whitefly. Simultaneously, we're boosting cassava's resistance to CMD through RNAi-guided CRISPR gene editing and also looking into prime editing, creating plants that are resilient to the disease, ensuring better yields and food security. Why is this solution better than what's being tried? Unlike traditional methods such as pesticides, which have environmental consequences and only temporarily reduce whitefly populations, my solution targets the root cause, modifying the whiteflies and genetically enhancing cassava for sustainable long-term disease resistance. This approach is biologically safer, more effective, and cost-efficient in the long run compared to chemical control. How have solutions to this problem evolved over time? Meaning, what are the cutting-edge solutions competing with mine? Traditional methods like pesticides have been widely used, but are not sustainable, and their efficiency is decreasing due to resistance. More recently, there has been some research into gene-modified cassava, but few have explored gene editing the whiteflies directly. As my approach is to modify the insect vector and the plant, this is what is cutting edge and provides a more holistic solution to CMD to demonstrate both and see which one is more effective. Other solutions are still limited in their scope and scalability. What are the main risks? The key risks include ecological concerns. The key risks include ecological concerns, so how gene-edited whiteflies will interact with other parts of the ecosystem, public acceptance of genetic modification, and regulatory hurdles. Additionally, execution risks involve the successful deployment and widespread adoption of the technology. How would I, the founder, address those risks? I plan to work with ecologists and experts to assess the ecological implications of gene editing on the local food chain and environment, ensuring that the benefits outweigh potential drawbacks. Public engagement and education are key, so I'm committed to explaining the long-term benefits of these technologies. For regulatory challenges, I'm already in contact with organizations like FAO and IITA, and I'm preparing to meet regulatory guidelines with clear evidence of safety and impact. Why am I the right person to work on this? I've been working on this project for the past 9 months, driven by a passion to solve global food security issues. That stems from my long-standing connection with food insecurity, which was seeing food insecurity firsthand in a developed country where I volunteered at food banks when I lived in the UK, volunteered at food banks such as Age UK and the Salvation Army. And that just gave me genuine joy. So I This is something that I enjoy, and I want to commit myself to doing this at scale because I describe myself as an ambitious person. So I would like to and I also like technology. I think it should be leveraged, especially by young people. So that's why I want to lead this movement, which I call SEVA at scale. SEVA meaning selfless service. I've surrounded myself with top experts in biotech, AI, and agriculture, such as Dr. Vincent Fong Dong, IITA, and GSK, as well as the mentors I meet monthly. I have the technical expertise in gene editing and the determination to see this project through. I have and still solidifying my technical expertise in gene editing, having just learning this for the past 8 months, and AI, and the determination to see this project through. I'm also experienced in managing complex projects with hackathons, consulting challenges with the World Economic Forum and Google, and partnerships. And I'm driven by a deep sense of responsibility to tackle hunger and poverty at scale. What's next after solving this problem? After solving CMD, my long-term vision is to scale this solution to other major crops and pests, other agricultural diseases, impacting food security on a global scale. So this could be in other continents, countries, and regions, and other diseases. I also aim to contribute to broader sustainable agriculture solutions, including biotech advancements that improve crop resilience and ecosystem stability. I want to ensure that my solutions can be replicated in different regions, reducing the hunger and improving global agricultural property. Having addressed these key points, I aim to show how my solution is both innovative and scalable, and how it can bring about real change to the food security crisis, making it a worthwhile investment for those interested in long-term impact. So the interesting thing was my calls with Sophia, Nadim, and Ginny. I noticed how all of them emphasize the explaining the long-term impact to investors, and all of their different perspectives based on their rich experience yet ranging backgrounds gave me a solid idea on funding strategy. And I'm confident that with their support and other support, I am now confidently ready for this project's funding for lab R&D. Moving forward, my priorities are continuing to execute and consolidate my action plan with a focus on reaching out to organizations with insect modification projects for insights, example being the World Mosquito Program. Completing the AI platform development, which I'm still learning, and gene editing simulations for both the project and presentation purposes to different stakeholders concurrently. And continuing on following up and applying to new grant programs, to new ones on partnerships for molecular entomology, as well as filing applications with targeted outreach to about 20 investors rather than 100 investors for funding. Thanks for watching. I enjoy doing these building in public updates. I hope you learned something from them, from my journey, and to other founders who are already or are looking to drive an entrepreneurial project like this from a youth perspective. And I hope you learn insights from my journey and the outcomes I gain. And I look forward to updating you all next week.